Discovering the untamed wonders of Venezuela, a journey through nature's masterpieces. Nestled at the northern tip of South America, Venezuela emerges like a verdant jewel, cradling the Caribbean Sea's azure embrace while whispering secrets to the vast Atlantic. This land of profound beauty spans approximately 916,445 square kilometers, a realm larger than the combined expanse of Texas and Oklahoma in the United States, yet more compact than the sprawling wilds of Peru, inviting explorers to lose themselves in its diverse tapestry of ecosystems. Bordered by the untamed frontiers of Colombia to the west, Brazil's lush expanses to the south, and Guyana's mysterious rainforests to the east, with the endless Caribbean waves caressing its northern shores, Venezuela stands as a gateway to paradise, where mountains pierce the clouds and rivers carve symphonies through ancient stone. As of 2025, its population hovers around 28.5 million souls, scattered like stars across a canvas of unparalleled natural splendor, from towering Tepuis to coral-fringed atolls, each corner a testament to the Earth's poetic artistry. In this video, we embark on an odyssey through Venezuela's hidden natural wonders, far from the clamor of urban life, immersing ourselves in the symphony of rustling leaves, cascading waters, and whispering winds that define this nation's soul. Cayo de Agua. Cayo de Agua, our ethereal sandbar paradise within the Los Roques Archipelago, unfurls like a delicate ribbon of ivory silk across the turquoise sea, connecting twin realms of pristine beach where the ocean's gentle caress meets the sky's infinite blue. Here, the sands gleam with a purity that rivals fresh fallen snow, soft and warm underfoot, inviting bare souls to trace paths where waves compose lullabies of foam and sparkle. Surrounded by crystalline waters teeming with colorful fish darting like living jewels, this secluded haven blooms with the subtle fragrance of sea salt and distant mangroves, a sanctuary where time dissolves into the horizon's embrace. Birds of iridescent plumage wheel overhead, their cries harmonizing with the rhythmic lap of tides, as the island's solitude envelops visitors in a cocoon of natural serenity, far from the world's hurried pulse. The coral reefs encircling this gem pulse with life, vibrant anemones swaying in underwater ballets, while sunlight filters through the depths to paint the seafloor in hues of emerald and gold, a submerged gallery of nature's finest artistry. As the sun dips low, casting golden veils over the sandbar, Cayo de Agua transforms into a dreamscape, where the boundary between earth, sea, and sky blurs into one eternal, breathtaking vista. Los Roques Archipelago. The Los Roques Archipelago rises from the Caribbean's depths like a constellation of emerald isles, a protected national park where over 350 keys and cays weave a mosaic of coral reefs and mangrove whispers, guarding secrets of biodiversity unseen elsewhere on Earth. Crystal-clear lagoons mirror the boundless sky, their waters a palette of sapphire and turquoise, alive with the graceful glide of sea turtles and the flicker of schools of tropical fish in an underwater ballet of iridescent scales. Pristine beaches of powdery white sand stretch languidly, fringed by swaying palms that rustle like ancient guardians, while the air hums with the calls of exotic birds nesting in hidden thickets, their feathers a riot of crimson and azure against the verdant backdrop. Vast coral gardens, the largest in the Caribbean, bloom in fantastical forms, branching staghorns and brain-like mazes, sheltering a symphony of marine life, from shy octopuses to bold barracudas, all illuminated by shafts of sunlight piercing the waves like divine spotlights. Windswept dunes and rocky outcrops punctuate the landscape, etched by salty breezes that sculpt the terrain into poetic undulations, offering vistas where the horizon seems to dissolve into infinity, a realm where humanity's footprint fades, yielding to nature's unchallenged reign. At dusk, the archipelago glows with bioluminescent magic, waves aglow with ethereal light, as stars descend to mingle with the sea, crafting a nocturnal wonder that stirs the soul to reverence. Gran Sabana. In the heart of Venezuela's southeastern wilds, the Gran Sabana unfolds as an otherworldly plateau, a vast savanna of golden grasses swaying under endless skies, punctuated by the dramatic silhouettes of ancient tepuis that rise like colossal fortresses from the Earth's primordial crust. Rivers of molten silver carve through the terrain, their waters tumbling over sheer cliffs in cascades that roar like the voices of forgotten gods, while the air shimmers with the scent of wild orchids and sun-warmed earth, a perfume of untamed vitality. Towering Table Mountains, etched by eons of wind and rain, harbor hidden worlds atop their summits, mist-shrouded plateaus where carnivorous plants snap at unwary insects and rare bromeliads clutch droplets like jewels in a crown of fog. The landscape's palette shifts with the light. Dawn paints the savanna in soft pinks, midday ignites it in fiery oranges, and twilight drapes it in indigo veils, as lightning storms dance across the horizon, illuminating the grandeur in electric splendor. Deep valleys cradle crystalline streams flanked by lush ferns and vibrant wildflowers, their banks alive with the flutter of butterflies in a kaleidoscope of colors, while the distant rumble of thunder echoes the heartbeat of this ancient land. Here, the Gran Sabana whispers tales of geological antiquity, its tepuis guardians of biodiversity, where every vista is a poem etched in stone and sky, inviting the wanderer to commune with nature's eternal majesty. Chichiriviche. Chichiriviche, a coastal gateway to Venezuela's hidden marine realms, nestles along the Falcon State's shores where the land meets the sea in a tender embrace of sandy bays and mangrove labyrinths, its waters a mirror to the heavens above. Gentle waves lap against shores lined with coconut palms arching gracefully, their fronds whispering secrets carried on trade winds, while the horizon beckons with the promise of nearby cays that dot the ocean like scattered emeralds. The air is alive with the salty tang of the sea mingled with the earthy aroma of coastal scrub, as seabirds wheel overhead in elegant arcs, their plumage catching the sun's golden rays like living sails. Beneath the surface, vibrant coral formations teem with life, schools of parrotfish nibbling on algae in colorful harmony, and rays gliding through the shallows like shadows of ancient myths, creating an underwater tapestry that captivates the soul. Sunsets here paint the sky in strokes of crimson and lavender, reflecting off the tranquil waters to bathe the landscape in a warm, ethereal glow, while the distant silhouette of Morrocoy's islands adds layers of mystery to this coastal idyll. In Chichiriviche's embrace, nature reveals her playful side, with tides sculpting ephemeral sandcastles and breezes stirring the leaves in rhythmic dances, a serene prelude to the archipelago's deeper wonders. Hacha Falls. Hacha Falls, a majestic sentinel within Canaima National Park, plunges with thunderous grace from a sheer cliff face, its waters a silvery veil cascading 60 meters into the embrace of the lagoon below, where mist rises like spirits in the humid air. Surrounded by lush Tepuis flanks cloaked in emerald foliage, the falls roar a perpetual symphony, their spray forming rainbows that arc like bridges to the divine amid the verdant canopy. The river feeding this spectacle winds through ancient rock formations, its path a serpentine ribbon of foam and clarity, flanked by ferns that unfurl like green fans in the perpetual moisture, while orchids bloom in hidden crevices, their petals delicate jewels against the rugged stone. As sunlight filters through the mist, it ignites the water into a prism of colors, dancing droplets catching the light in a ballet of refraction that mesmerizes the eye and soothes the spirit. The surrounding lagoon, a placid mirror of teal, reflects the fall's majesty, its shores lined with sandy beaches where the air hums with the calls of tropical birds, their songs intertwining with the cascade's bass rumble. Hacha Falls stands as nature's grand sculptor, carving beauty from the wild, inviting pilgrims to stand in awe of its unrelenting power and fragile harmony. Cayo Vapor. Cayo Vapor, a diminutive jewel in the Los Roques crown, emerges from the Caribbean's azure expanse as a barren yet enchanting isle, its shores fringed by coral barriers that guard turquoise lagoons teeming with the ocean's hidden life. Devoid of towering palms, this tiny atoll relies on the sea's embrace for its allure, with waves sculpting white sands into gentle curves that invite contemplation under the relentless tropical sun. The waters surrounding it shimmer with clarity, revealing a seafloor mosaic of coral heads and sea fans waving like underwater banners, home to darting damselfish and the occasional majestic eagle ray gliding through the depths. Breezes carry the crisp scent of salt and distant reefs, while the horizon stretches unbroken, a canvas where sky and sea merge in infinite blue, punctuated only by the faint silhouette of neighboring keys. At low tide, shallow pools expose starfish clinging to rocks like celestial guardians, their arms a testament to the resilient beauty of this isolated paradise. Cayo Vapor whispers of nature's minimalist elegance, a place where the elemental forces, wind, wave, and sun, conspire to create a sanctuary of pure, unadorned wonder. Canaima National Park. Kilometers in a cloak of tepuis and waterfalls, where flat-topped mountains rise like lost worlds from savannas of fiery red earth and golden grasses. Rivers born in these ancient plateaus carve through the landscape in frothy torrents, feeding cascades that plummet into mist-shrouded pools, their roar a constant anthem to the park's wild heart. The Tepuis, sheer-walled sentinels over 2 billion years old, harbor unique ecosystems atop their summits, carnivorous pitcher plants trapping dew-kissed insects, and endemic frogs hopping across mossy expanses under perpetual cloud veils. Lush rainforests cloak the lower slopes, alive with the chatter of howler monkeys and the vibrant flash of macaws slicing through the canopy, while orchids dangle like pendants from twisted lianas, perfuming the humid air with exotic sweetness. Crystal lagoons reflect the drama of surrounding cliffs, their waters a palette of jade and cobalt, inviting kayaks to glide silently amid floating lily pads that bob like nature's rafts. As storms brew, lightning illuminates the Tepuis in spectral glory, revealing gorges and valleys sculpted by eons, making Canaima a living poem of geological grandeur and biological diversity. Morrocoy National Park. Morrocoy National Park, a coastal Eden along Venezuela's northwestern shores, comprises a labyrinth of over 30 cays and mangrove islands, where white sand beaches meet coral reefs in a symphony of turquoise shallows and vibrant underwater realms. Mangroves arch their roots like ancient fingers into brackish waters, filtering the sea's bounty to nurture nurseries of fish and crustaceans, while pelicans dive with precision into the waves, their wings cutting the air like silver blades. Pristine beaches curve invitingly, fringed by sea grapes and low-lying scrub that sways in the trade winds, offering shade-dappled spots where the sand warms like a gentle hearth under the sun. Snorkelers descend into a world of brain corals and sea fans, where parrotfish graze on algae in bursts of color, and moray eels peer from crevices like shy sentinels of the deep. The park's lagoons, sheltered from open ocean swells, shimmer with bioluminescent plankton at night, turning the water into a starry sea that mirrors the heavens above. Morrocoy's beauty lies in its intimate scale, a mosaic of ecosystems where land, sea, and sky converge in harmonious splendor, a haven for nature's quiet miracles. Los Llanos. Los Llanos, Venezuela's immense grassland expanse, stretches across the Orinoco Basin like a golden sea under vast skies, where seasonal floods transform the plains into a mirror of wetlands teeming with life in a ballet of migration and rebirth. Herons and egrets wade through shallow waters, their long legs stepping delicately amid caimans lurking like submerged logs, while capybaras graze on emergent grasses, the world's largest rodents embodying the region's gentle giants. Sunrises ignite the horizon in flames of orange and pink, casting long shadows over termite mounds that rise like ancient obelisks, and as the day unfolds, the air hums with the buzz of insects and the distant calls of howler monkeys from ribbon forests along riverbanks. During the wet season, the Llanos bloom with wildflowers in carpets of purple and yellow, attracting butterflies in swirling clouds, while anacondas coil in the mud, masters of camouflage in this watery wilderness. Evenings bring a chorus of frogs and crickets, the sky ablaze with stars unmarred by city lights, as jaguars prowl the edges in silent majesty. Los Llanos pulses with raw, untamed energy, a vast canvas where nature's cycles unfold in epic poetry, from drought's stark beauty to flood's lush abundance. Churan River. The Churun River, a vital artery in Canaima's wild heart, meanders through the Gran Sabana's rugged terrain, its waters gathering force from Tepuis springs to birth the world's mightiest waterfall in a torrent of foam and mist. Flanked by sheer cliffs draped in vines and ferns, the river's course is a journey through emerald gorges, where sunlight dapples the surface in golden flecks, illuminating pebbles that gleam like scattered treasures on the bed. Rapids churn with ferocious energy, whitecaps dancing like spirits of the wild, while calmer stretches reflect the overhanging canopy of ceiba trees, their branches arching like cathedral vaults over the flow. The air carries the fresh, mineral scent of wet stone and blooming heliconias, as kingfishers dart along the banks in flashes of turquoise, plunging for fish in precision strikes. As it approaches Angel Falls, the Churun swells with anticipation, its currents whispering of the plunge to come, carving deep pools where otters play in joyful abandon. This river is nature's sculptor, etching beauty from the landscape with relentless grace, a lifeline pulsing through Venezuela's ancient wonders. Valle Coche. Valle Coche, a verdant valley cradled in the Andean foothills near Caracas, unfolds as a lush basin where rolling hills give way to streams that sparkle under the sun, their banks lined with wild grasses swaying in the mountain breezes. Though touched by urban edges, its heart remains a natural retreat, with eucalyptus groves whispering in the wind and distant peaks piercing the clouds like silent guardians. Trails wind through meadows dotted with colorful wildflowers, where butterflies flit among the blooms, and the air fills with the earthy aroma of pine and damp soil after rains. Small waterfalls trickle from rocky outcrops, forming pools that reflect the sky's vast blue, inviting moments of quiet reflection amid the rustle of leaves. Valle Coche's subtle beauty lies in its resilient greenery, a pocket of wilderness where nature reclaims the land in soft, persistent waves, offering a serene escape into the embrace of the highlands. Baralt Avenue. Baralt Avenue, weaving through Caracas's vibrant core, is framed by the distant silhouette of Avila Mountain, whose cloud-kissed slopes spill natural beauty into the urban vein, with breezes carrying the scent of alpine forests down to the streets below. Though a thoroughfare of stone and light, its periphery touches pockets of green, parks with jacaranda trees blooming in lavender cascades, their petals drifting like spring snow on the wind. The avenue's path hints at the wild beyond, where the mountain's rivers carve hidden valleys, and morning mists veil ridges in ethereal veils, a reminder of nature's proximity even in the city's pulse. Sunsets from nearby vantage points paint the avenue in golden hues, reflecting off the mountain's face like a canvas of fire and shadow, bridging the built world to the untamed heights. Aragua, a state of cascading wonders in Venezuela's north-central embrace, harbors Henry Pittier National Park, where cloud forests cloak steep slopes in a verdant shroud, alive with the trill of orchids and the drip of dew from bromeliad cups. Waterfalls like Correron plummet through misty veils, their waters a silver thread against basalt cliffs, pooling in emerald basins surrounded by ferns that unfurl like prehistoric fans in the humid air. Lake Valencia mirrors the surrounding sierras, its surface a tranquil canvas rippled by winds that carry the fragrance of coffee blossoms from terraced hillsides, while birds of paradise flit through the canopy in bursts of scarlet and gold. Trails ascend to viewpoints where the Caribbean glimmers on the horizon, the landscape a symphony of ridges and valleys sculpted by ancient rains. Aragua's essence is its layered beauty, from coastal mangroves to highland mists, a realm where nature's palette shifts with altitude, inviting endless discovery. Petare, perched on Caracas's hilly fringes, overlooks valleys where nature's touch lingers in terraced gardens and winding streams that trickle through rocky gullies, their waters carving paths amid resilient foliage. The surrounding hills, part of the Orvala's foothills, bloom with wild agave and cacti that stand sentinel against the sun, their spines a testament to the land's hardy spirit. Breezes from the mountains bring the cool scent of pine, mingling with the earthy aroma of soil after showers, while distant ridges fade into hazy blues under the tropical sky. In Petare's elevated nooks, pockets of greenery offer vistas of the valley below, where sunlight filters through leaves to dapple the ground in light and shadow. This area's natural undercurrent reveals itself in quiet moments, a subtle weave of hill and hollow that echoes Venezuela's rugged charm. Cayo Sombrero Island. Cayo Sombrero Island, a crown jewel of Morrocoy National Park, basks in the Caribbean sun with beaches of flawless white sand curving like a crescent moon, their shores kissed by waves that deposit seashells in iridescent piles. Turquoise waters lap gently, revealing coral gardens just offshore where angelfish glide in graceful schools, their scales shimmering like embedded gems in the clear depths. Palms lean toward the sea, their fronds rustling in harmony with the breeze, while the island's interior hides low dunes carpeted in sea oats that sway like golden waves. Snorkeling here unveils a world of brain corals pulsing with color, sea urchins nestled in crevices, and the occasional turtle surfacing for air with ancient wisdom in its eyes. As the tide recedes, sandbars emerge like natural bridges, connecting the quay to the infinite blue, a playground for the sea's whimsical designs. Cayo Sombrero embodies paradise's simplicity, where every grain of sand and ripple of water composes an ode to coastal serenity. Las Mercedes. Las Mercedes, nestled in Caracas's green corridors, adjoins pockets of urban forest where acacia trees arch overhead, their branches forming natural canopies that filter sunlight into dappled patterns on the earth below. Nearby streams wind through leafy undergrowth, their banks alive with the hum of bees among blooming hibiscus, carrying the fresh scent of rain-kissed leaves on the wind. The area's elevated terrain offers glimpses of the Orvilla's majestic profile, its slopes cloaked in cloud forest that spills misty veils down to the lowlands. Trails in adjacent parks meander past ferns and vines, where birdsong fills the air like a living melody, a subtle reminder of nature's persistence amid the bustle. Las Mercedes' natural charm lies in these hidden green spaces, bridges between city and wild where the earth breathes freely. Salt Cay, Cayo Sal. Cayo Sal, a salty gem in Morrocoy's embrace, features lagoons of crystalline brine where flamingos wade in pink elegance, their reflections doubling the spectacle on the mirrored surface under the relentless sun. White sands encircle the cay, soft as talcum and warmed by tropical rays, while mangroves fringe the edges with tangled roots that shelter juvenile fish in their labyrinthine hold. The air carries a briny tang, mingled with the subtle perfume of salt-tolerant blooms that dot the dunes, resilient against the sea's encroaching kiss. Shallow pools teem with tiny crabs scuttling like jeweled automatons, and the horizon stretches to reveal distant cays like whispers on the wave. At sunset, the lagoon ignites in fiery oranges, the salt flats gleaming like a vast, ethereal mirror, capturing the sky's drama in perfect symmetry. Cayo Sal's allure is its elemental purity, a place where sea and salt conspire in natural alchemy. Plaza O'Leary. Plaza O'Leary, in Caracas's historic heart, is overlooked by the Orvilla Mountains' verdant rise, where morning fog clings to slopes like a lover's veil, infusing the square with the crisp scent of highland pines drifting on the breeze. Adjacent green spaces feature fountains fed by natural springs, their waters bubbling with the essence of mountain purity, surrounded by ficus trees whose roots twist like ancient sculptures. The plaza's edges touch botanical pockets where orchids nod in the shade, attracting hummingbirds in jeweled flashes, a microcosm of the wild beyond the city's stone. Sunlight filters through leaves to illuminate the space, casting shadows that dance with the wind's gentle push, evoking the mountain's timeless presence. Though urban, Plaza O'Leary borrows nature's poetry from its lofty neighbor, a serene interlude of green amid the flow. Angel Falls. Angel Falls, the world's tallest uninterrupted cascade, tumbles 979 meters from Tepuis' sheer face in a silvery plume that defies gravity, its mist rising like a bridal veil to kiss the clouds above. Fed by the Churan River's pure waters, the falls roar with primordial force, carving a gorge through Tepuis stone where rainbows arc eternally in the spray, painting the air with spectral light. The surrounding jungle hums with life, monkeys swinging from lianas, their calls echoing like jungle drums, while orchids cling to cliffs in defiant bloom, petals unfurling in the perpetual damp. From the base, the plunge seems infinite, a white thread against the Tepuis' rust-red walls, where viewing platforms offer awe-struck gazes into nature's abyss. As sunlight pierces the mist, it transforms droplets into diamonds, cascading in a symphony of shimmer and thunder that stirs the soul to reverence. Angel Falls is Venezuela's crowning glory, a poetic testament to water's sculpting power over ancient earth. Canaima Lagoon. Canaima Lagoon, a serene jewel encircled by cascading waterfalls, lies cradled in the park's embrace, its teal waters a tranquil mirror reflecting Tepuis cliffs that tower like emerald sentinels under the tropical sun. Multiple falls, Hacha, Golje, and Yukaima, plunge into its depths, their combined roar a soothing bass note amid the splash of foam and the rustle of surrounding palms. Beaches of fine pink sand fringe the shores, soft and warm, where visitors wade through shallows teeming with tiny fish darting like silver arrows. The air is alive with the scent of wet orchids and ferns, as mist from the falls nourishes a lush rim of vegetation, home to vibrant frogs and butterflies in a flutter of color. At dawn, the lagoon awakens in soft pastels, the water's surface rippling with the first light, while evenings bring a chorus of nocturnal creatures under starlit skies. Canaima Lagoon embodies harmonious beauty, where water, rock, and forest converge in eternal grace. Colonia Tovar. Colonia Tovar, perched in Aragua's mountainous embrace, is surrounded by cloud forests of Henry Pittier Park, where mists weave through pine canopies, draping the valleys in ethereal veils that carry the fresh aroma of dew-kissed needles. Trails descend to waterfalls that sing through rocky beds, their pools ringed by ferns and wild berries ripening in the shade, a lush understory alive with the trill of mountain birds. The air hums with the buzz of insects among blooming azaleas, their petals a riot of pink against the green, while distant ridges fade into foggy horizons, evoking a sense of timeless wilderness. Sunbeams pierce the canopy to illuminate moss-covered stones, creating pockets of light that dance with the breeze, a natural cathedral of serenity. Colonia Tovar's natural splendor lies in its highland isolation, a haven where forest and fall compose a symphony of mist and melody. Universidad Central de Venezuela. The Universidad Central de Venezuela's campus, nestled in Caracas, features expansive gardens where native palms and caibas arch skyward, their roots delving into soil enriched by the nearby Orvalles runoff, creating oases of green amid academic stone. Botanical paths wind through collections of orchids and tropical flora, the air perfumed by jasmine blooms that unfurl at dusk, attracting nocturnal moths in silent flight. Fountains draw from natural aquifers, their waters bubbling like mountain streams, while shaded lawns invite repose under the dappled light filtering through broad leaves. The campus edges touch urban forests where howler monkeys occasionally echo from the hills, a whisper of the wild encroaching on cultivated beauty. This green enclave honors nature's role in learning, a blend of cultivated and wild that breathes life into the intellectual heart. Gran Roque. Gran Roque, the beating heart of Los Roques, rises with rocky hills cloaked in scrub and mangroves, its shores lapped by waves that deposit coral fragments on white sands, crafting beaches of natural mosaic under the Caribbean sun. The island's interior harbors salt flats where flamingos stride in elegant pink, their reflections doubling in shallow pools that mirror the endless sky. Breezes sculpt dunes into undulating waves, carrying the salty whisper of the sea mingled with the scent of sea grapevines twisting over rocks. Offshore reefs pulse with life, barracudas patrolling like silver torpedoes, and sponges filtering the tide in quiet efficiency, visible from cliffside vantage points offering panoramic vistas of the archipelago. At night, the beach glows with phosphorescent waves, stars above and below creating a celestial bridge. Gran Roque captures the archipelago's essence, a rugged yet radiant isle of sea and stone. Madrisqui Island. Madrisqui Island, a petite paradise off Gran Roque, boasts beaches of powdery white sand that curve invitingly into azure bays, where gentle waves reveal seashells polished smooth by the ocean's endless caress. Low mangroves fringe the interior, their roots a tangled haven for crabs scuttling in the tide pools, while the water's clarity unveils coral heads blooming just below the surface like underwater flowers. The air hums with the calls of gulls wheeling overhead, their wings catching the sun in flashes of white against the blue, as palms provide sparse shade for moments of tranquil repose. Snorkeling here immerses one in a world of sergeant majors and butterflyfish darting through seagrass meadows, a living tapestry of marine vibrancy. Sunsets bathe Madrisqui in amber glows, the sand warming the feet as the horizon ignites, a fleeting masterpiece of light and sea. This intimate cay whispers of seclusion, nature's quiet gift in the vast Caribbean expanse. Junquito. Junquito, a highland retreat near Caracas, nestles in cloud forest valleys where pines and oaks cloak steep slopes, their branches heavy with epiphytes that drip moisture like living chandeliers in the misty air. Trails lead to cascading streams that foam over mossy rocks, pooling in clear basins surrounded by ferns unfurling in the damp, the scent of wet earth and wild mint rising with each step. Birds of vivid plumage, toucans and hummingbirds, flit through the canopy, their songs a melody against the distant rumble of waterfalls hidden in the folds. Morning fog veils the ridges in soft grays, lifting to reveal vistas of layered mountains fading into the horizon, a landscape of ethereal depth. Junquito's charm is its alpine freshness, a breath of wilderness where forest and fall entwine in cool embrace. Yuruani Waterfall. Yuruani Waterfall, a broad vale in the Gran Sabana, spills over a 15-meter cliff in a wide curtain of foam, its waters thundering into a plunge pool ringed by red jasper rocks that gleam like polished rubies under the sun. Flanked by savanna grasses waving in the breeze, the falls carve a misty arc where rainbows form in the spray, illuminating the air with prismatic magic amid the earthy scent of wet stone. Trails approach through wildflower meadows, where butterflies dance in the humidity, and the river above meanders calmly before its dramatic leap. The surrounding Tepuis views stretch to infinity, cliffs rising like ancient walls etched by time's hand. Yuruani's power is poetic, a natural amphitheater where water's song echoes through the wild. Los Chaguaramos. Los Chaguaramos, on Caracas's green periphery, adjoins hilly terrains where acacia groves provide natural corridors, their thorny branches sheltering birds that call at dawn in a chorus of life amid the urban fringe. Streams trickle through underbrush, their banks lush with grasses and occasional wild orchids blooming defiantly, carrying the subtle perfume of mountain air down from the Orvilla. Sun-dappled paths reveal pockets of biodiversity, lizards basking on rocks, and vines climbing toward the light in twisted elegance. The area's natural pulse beats in these green veins, a resilient weave of wild amid the built, offering serene escapes into foliage and flow. Caracas, the Orvilla's mountainous embrace. Guarded by El Orvilla National Park's coastal Cordillera, Caracas nestles in a valley amphitheater where the range's 2,765-meter peaks pierce the clouds like emerald blades, their flanks cloaked in cloud forest that cascades to the city's rim in verdant waves. Trails ascend from urban fringes into premontane mists, where epiphytes festoon laurels in dripping garlands, orchids blooming in spectral whites amid the fern-choked understory. Pico Naguatar's summit yields panoramas of the Caribbean's distant shimmer, ridges etched with quartzite veins gleaming under the zenith blaze, while valleys cradle lagoons of ink-blue purity ringed by frail Jones thrusting velvety arms skyward. The park's understory teems with puma tracks in muddy hollows and quetzal flashes through the canopy's dapple. Cascades like Los Chorros thunder from basalt rims, veiling grottos in prismatic spray where rainbows arc over pebble pools harboring crayfish in armored scuttle. Breezes carry the pine resin of highland groves mingling with wild heliotrope's faint perfume from meadow fringes. Twilight drapes the Orvilla in lavender haze, the valley mirroring the peak's silhouette as fireflies rise from the undergrowth in pulsing waves. Caracas' wild guardian is the Cordillera's epic verse, a mountainous realm where mist and peak compose nature's encircling hymn, resilient sentinel to the vale below. In Porimo crests, tussock grasses sway in wind-swept undulations, cushion plants blooming in alpine rosettes under the vault's unblinking stars. The Orvilla endures as the city's verdant diadem, crowning urban stone with wilderness's eternal crown. Humboldt Hotel, perched vantage of Orvilla's majesty. El Orvilla's 2,100-meter saddle, the Humboldt Hotel commands vistas where Caracas sprawls below like a crumpled tapestry of light and shadow, the valley hemmed by peaks that pierce the coastal haze in rugged silhouette. From this eyrie, cloud forests unfurl downslope in emerald cascades, their canopies alive with the distant roar of howler choruses echoing through the mist. The hotel's terrace overlooks premontane ridges veined with streamlets that carve ravines into fern-draped grottos, waterfalls veiling basalt faces in silvery threads that catch the dawn's first gold. Orchids cling to nearby laurels in waxy clusters, their blooms nodding amid epiphytes dripping like verdant chandeliers in the perpetual fog. Thermal updrafts lift frigate birds in soaring spirals from the saddle's edge, their wings spanning the gulf to the Caribbean's distant turquoise hem, while ground squirrels dart across quartzite outcrops veined with lichen silver. The air, crisp with pine and wet moss, carries the faint thunder of hidden cascades tumbling toward the vale. Dusk gilds the panorama in molten amber, the Orvilla's flanks igniting as the valley's lights flicker to life like terrestrial stars mirroring the vault. Humboldt's perch is the range's contemplative throne, a vantage where peak and plain entwine in nature's sweeping sonnet, mist-veiled and majestic. In the Saddle's meadows, frail Jones cluster in velvety phalanxes, their reservoirs harvesting fog into dewdrop pearls that nourish the alpine sward. This eyrie endures as the Orville's poetic summit, surveying wilderness's boundless scroll. Cayo Sal Island, Los Roques salt pan serenity. Echoing its namesake in crystalline repose, Cayo Sal basks in Los Roques' northern light as a loquet of mangrove fringe and evaporative pans, its interior's a mosaic of pink-hued brine where algae blooms tint the shallows roseate under the tropic blaze. Shores curve in shell-strewn gentleness, sands yielding to waves that reveal coral rubble etched by tidal sculpt. The flats harbor flamingo waders dipping curved beaks in saline harvest, their plumage staining the mirror pink as spoonbills join in ivory complement, legs stilted like porcelain reeds. Reefs encircle in submerged lace, brain corals pulsing with sergeant major patrols in yellow-striped vigilance amid the current's sway. Palms lean sparsely along the leeward rim, fronds whispering over dunes where sea oats nod in saline zephyrs, guarding paths littered with conch fossils spiraling in ivory antiquity. The air hums with the salt-crusted hush broken by turn dives into the pan's glassy calm. Twilight veils the quay in amethyst, the flats reflecting the vault's embers as bioluminescent crests break upon the strand. Cayo Sal is the chained saline interlude, a pan-born verse where evaporation's art distills beauty from the sea's essence. Beneath, burrowing clams filter the tide in rhythmic pulse, their siphons dotting the mud like living fountains. This serenity endures as nature's crystalline whisper, pure and poised. Medanos de Coro National Park, dunes of desert mirage. Sweeping 9,100 hectares along Falkland's parched coast, Medanos de Coro rises as Venezuela's mini-Sahara, its 30-kilometer spine of dunes cresting 40 meters in ochre waves sculpted by ceaseless trade winds into sinuous crests that march toward the sea. These sand seas undulate like frozen swells, fringes of thorny scrub clinging to the troughs where cacti thrust in defiant rosettes. Ascend a ridge at dawn, and the pans gleam in golden hush, shadows pooling in interdunal vales harboring oases of palm thatch and wild melon vines blooming in yellow profusion. The air shimmers with heat mirage, carrying the faint resin of algarrobo groves dotting the leeward flanks like emerald islands. Reefs offshore pulse with life, but the dunes harbor dune beetles rolling provisions in armored haste, their paths tracing ephemeral mandalas upon the slip face. At midday, the crests ignite in blinding blaze, winds chanting through the comb's ridges like aeolian harps. Dusk drapes the Médanos in crimson veil, the sands cooling to silken warmth as stars wheel overhead in unpolluted fire. Coro's dunes are the coast's arid ballad, a wind-carved realm where desolation blooms in sculptural grace, mirage and reality entwined. In the interdunes, burrowing owls peer from sandy lairs, their eyes like polished onyx scanning the twilight sward. This park endures as nature's sandy sonnet, whispering eternity through grain and gust. Los Roques Lighthouse, sentinel of azure vistas. Crowning Gran Roque's highest knoll, the Los Roques Lighthouse stands as a weathered spire of coral stone, its beam sweeping the archipelago's turquoise expanse where cays dot the horizon like emerald stepping stones adrift in indigo infinity. Ascend the spiral stair, and panoramas unfold, reefs fringing the isles in submerged filigree, waves breaking in foam lace upon porcelain strands below. From this vantage, frigate fleets wheel in thermal spirals, their silhouettes etched against cumulus sails drifting across the vault, while distant atolls fade into haze-veiled seclusion. The hill's scrub harbors warbler choruses trilling through algarrobo thickets, their songs mingling with the breaker's distant roar. At zenith, the light fractures upon the sea in prismatic fans, birthing rainbows over quay silhouettes that elongate with the sun's arc. The air, laced with salt and pine, carries conch echoes from beachside vigils. Twilight ignites the beam in amber sweep, casting the chain in golden hush as bioluminescent trails awaken in the swell. The lighthouse is the isle's watchful ode, a spire verse surveying nature's aquatic mosaic in eternal vigil. Beneath the knoll, tide pools brim with anemone blooms pulsing in tidal breath. This sentinel endures as the archipelago's luminous eye, guiding gaze to boundless blue. Chuao, coastal plantations of rainforest canopy. Tucked in Henry Pitier's coastal folds, Chuao cradles cacao groves beneath a rainforest canopy where taller sentinels, mango and cedar, arch in dappled shade over understory shade that nurtures pods ripening in golden abundance. Trails wind through this agroforest, lianas draping like verdant hammocks amid the humid hush of epiphyte-laden branches dripping with mist. The plantation's edges blur into promontane wilds, heliconias flaming orange along stream banks where cascades veil ferns in silvery mist, their pools harboring crayfish scuttling over pebble mosaics. Orchids bloom from bark perches in waxy clusters, drawing hummingbirds in emerald darts through the leaf-filtered light. Mangrove fringes hug the shore, roots interlacing in tidal cradles where herons wade in ivory poise amid the red-black thicket's labyrinth. The air perfumed with cacao's faint chocolate undertone mingles with wild ginger's spice from the undergrowth. Twilight drapes the groves in emerald hush, fireflies pulsing amid the lianas sway as frog choruses swell from the stream's edge. Chuao's wilds are the coast's symbiotic sonnet, a forested realm where canopy and cascade compose nature's shaded rhapsody. In shaded vales, bromeliads cup reservoirs teeming with life, their rosettes armored in verdant resilience. This haven endures as rainforest's layered poem, weaving agro and wild in harmonious green. Isla Margarita, pearls of beach and bluff. Venezuela's Pearl Isle, Margarita sprawls 1,000 square kilometers in Caribbean splendor, its eastern beaches of jet-black sand fringed by palms bowing to turquoise breakers that foam over reefs teeming with angelfish in polka dot patrol. Cerro El Copi's cloud forest crowns the interior, trails threading through epiphyte vales where orchids nod amid the mist's embrace. Playa El Agua's strand curves in coconut-shaded idyll, waves sculpting sandcastles in rhythmic hush while dunes harbor sea oats nodding in saline zephyrs. The island's bluffs rise in cactus-dotted ramparts, overlooking cays adrift in azure scatter like emerald confetti. Laguna La Restinga's mangroves form labyrinthine channels, roots arching over shallows alive with manatee glides and roseate flocks staining the brine pink. Higher, promontane ridges yield frail Joan fringes harvesting fog into alpine blooms. Dusk paints the beaches in lavender glow, the bluffs silhouetted against the vault's ember as bioluminescent waves sparkle. Margarita is the sea's jeweled anthology, beaches and bluffs composing nature's insular hymn. In the lagoon's heart, herons stalk with balletic poise amid the red mangroves dapple. This pearl endures as coastal poetry, layering strand and summit in turquoise verse. La Tortuga, the turtle isle of untamed tides. Adrift 140 kilometers north, La Tortuga emerges as a 314 square kilometer wildwood of scrub and beach, its shores nesting grounds for leatherbacks hauling ashore under moonfire to etch nests in sands warmed by equatorial blaze. Mangroves fringe the leeward bays, roots interlacing in tidal vaults where caimans lurk with amber eyes amid the black water calm. The interior's low hills harbor endemic whiptails darting through cactus thickets, their scales flashing in thorny defiles dotted with wild agave rosettes thrusting spires skyward. Beaches curve in shell-strewn arcs, waves lapping over coral rubble where ghost crabs scuttle in moonlit haste. Bird migrants wheel in seasonal flocks, shorebirds piping over salt pans blushing with algae blooms, while frigate patrols scan the swell for flying fish arcs. The air hums with the island's isolation, broken only by breaker hush and tern cry. Twilight veils the strands in amethyst, turtle silhouettes emerging from the surf in ancient pilgrimage. La Tortuga is the sea's reptilian elegy, a tidal realm where shell and scrub compose nature's untamed sonnet. Submerged reefs pulse with grouper layers amid barrel sponges, the depths guarding the isle's aquatic trove. This wildwood endures as migratory whisper, pure and poised. Carao River, Canaima's rapids and Tepuis trails. Slicing through Canaima's savanna heart, The Carao surges as a 200-kilometer serpent of froth and calm, its rapids foaming over granite cauldrons where couriers navigate in awe-born ballet amid the spray's prismatic veil. Upstream, Tepuis flanks tower in basalt ramparts, their escarpments dripping with epiphyte garlands that veil trails in verdant hush. The river's banks bloom with moriche palms arching over black waterbends, where otters tumble in familial vortices, sleek forms weaving through current eddies with otterish glee. Rapids like Mayupa thunder in boulder-strewn gorges, mist rising like spectral banners birthing rainbows in the gorge's throat. Shallows harbor cichlid mosaics darting in metallic unison amid submerged snags, while kingfishers perch on overhangs with crests cocked like jeweled sabers. The air vibrates with the river's bass roar, underscoring macaw cries streaking the canopy. Dusk gilds the Carao in molten hush, the rapids foam glowing under starfire as fireflies mimic the spray. This vein is Canaima's aqueous epic, rapids and reaches carving nature's fluid narrative upon the Tepuis stone. In calm pools, anacondas coil like emerald ropes in shaded repose. The Carao endures as the park's liquid quill, inscribing descent through wild's rugged scroll. Coche Island, mangrove margins and arid arcs. Sister to Margarita's Pearl, Coche sprawls as a 55-square-kilometer canvas of arid bluff and mangrove margin, its beaches of powdery white fringed by waves that sculpt red earth cliffs into undulating facades veined with quartzite gleam. Laguna de la Summer's salt pans blush pink with algal bloom, flamingos wading in roseate phalanxes over the crystalline crust. The interior's scrub harbors cacti thrusting in geometric defiance amid thorny acacia groves, their pods rattling in trade winds that sculpt dunes into sinuous crests. Mangroves hug the southern shores, red and black thickets interlacing roots over channels teeming with snapper schools in silver dart. Beaches like La Punta curve in palm-shaded idylls, sands yielding to breakers foaming over coral rubble strewn with conch spirals. Birdwatcher's haven, the isle draws migrants in seasonal whirl, terns piping over the bluff's edge. Coche in crimson veil, the mangrove silhouette mirrored in tidal pools as bioluminescent crests awaken. This isle is the Caribbean's arid sonnet, margins and arcs composing nature's insular balance. Beneath the lagoons, burrowing clams pulse in saline rhythm, their siphons dotting the bed like living spouts. Coche endures as mangrove's whispered realm, arid and aquatic entwined.